So there may be some fault there where I started dating him before his actual divorce was final, but I made sure that he had filed divorce because that's what he told me.
Child, this Gail Lewis and Sabrina Hutton drama just took a whole new turn, with Sabrina giving receipts about Gail being an original side piece herself. And Gail was like, no ma'am, I'm gonna spill my own tea about being a side piece myself. Baby, if their intention is to get into Real Housewives of Atlanta, sign them up like yesterday, cause they definitely fit the brief. And we are already too invested at this point. Even before anything, can I just start by noting that Gail and Sabrina look like the exact same person? The same hair, the same face, and even the same eyebrow arch. It's like her husband literally chose a younger version of Gail to cheat with. And talk about how you get them is how you lose them, no matter how many years it may take. In addition, if you are like me and you've followed this story keenly, you've probably noticed that there are a few things that are not adding up. Like how Gail said she thought she married an upstanding citizen in the society. Ma'am, you thought you were married to an upstanding citizen when your own relationship started with a lie? Did you really think he was going to hold you to a higher standard? Also, Gail admitted that she wasn't attracted to Harold, but once he gave her diamonds, she suddenly looked over him being morbidly obese? Girl. Anyway, let's just get right into breaking down how the drama has unfolded since it went viral. Now, the first video that Gail posted captured the very moment she saw her husband with Sabrina at the Atlanta airport. Then in follow-up posts, Gail went ahead and gave one hell of a story time on TikTok, saying that back in 2022, Harold was due back to Atlanta after an international business trip, and he had told her that he was away for work. As the good wife she was, Gail wanted to make a nice dinner to welcome her husband home. So she called the airline to find out the time the plane was going to land. I know you are about to say that she could have just typed in the flight number to find that out. But here's the thing. Gail said that she was driving and couldn't type in the flight details, so she called the airline. Okay, cool. So she calls the representative who asks for her husband's name. And the representative was like, Mr. Such and Such and Miss Such and Such landed 20 minutes ago. Honey, that was when Gail was shooketh.
So I'm in shock because I've been married 25, 26 years, and I'm thinking I'm just married to this outstanding, upstanding citizen. So I said, no, just his name. I don't know who that other person is, but just his name. And the guy states again, he was like, Mr. Such and Such and Miss what's her name just landed a few minutes ago.
After that call with the airline rep, Gail said that her husband called her, telling her that he missed her so much and couldn't wait to be back home. Talking about it was the hardest trip he had gone on because she was not with him. Child, something was indeed hard during the trip, but it was not the business presentations Harold had to do. Now, when Harold got back home, Gail told her husband that she called the airline and they mentioned that Sabrina was on the flight with him. And the husband was like, who's that? I don't know who that is. They must have made a mistake. Of course, she knew that something was up, and the next day she decided to check the credit card bills. And guess what? Sabrina's name was all over those credit card bills, traveling to a bunch of countries all over the world. The same Sabrina her dear husband said he knew nothing about was on every one of the bills for the last 10 months.
Flights here, flights there, flights to Paris, Delta vacations, a country here, an island there, something. And this was in 1 month. So I'm sitting there like, what in the world?
Basically, while Gail thought her husband was out working and telling her that she couldn't travel with him because he didn't want to get distracted, he had a travel made for all the trips. Since Gail was understandably furious, she confronted her husband with the facts, and once again, he attempted to lie and act as though he had no idea who the woman was. But Gail's insistence that he tell the truth eventually had him accepting the jig was up. Harold had to confirm that Sabrina was his girlfriend, and he admitted that they had been together for a couple of years. Did you hear me? Years. What happened next was that Gail suggested counseling and also suggested that they sell their home and move to start over. And Harold was willing to oblige, but he also had no interest in ending his relationship with Sabrina. Then Gail said she was gutted by his gall to say, I don't want a divorce, but I'm going to keep seeing her.
Let me tell you something. That was definitely the wrong answer and told me everything I needed to know about him, about the marriage and what I needed to do next.
According to Gail, she was at least relieved that there were no photos of them together. But when she met with her girls, they told her that there actually was a picture that Sabrina herself posted, and another one where she posted holding his hand. Then, to add insult to injury, Harold told her that he needed to go away for 3 to 6 months to give her space to think about some things. Baby, the way Gail knew that Harold had lost love for her completely was when he told her that if she found someone in the 3 to 6 months that he would be away, he would understand. Child, the gaslighting is crazy. Anyway, after footage from Gail's rants went viral, of course, we all wanted the tea from all sides, and people reached out to Sabrina, who shared her own recollection of how she and Harold began dating. Honey, I personally was not ready for the plot twist because Sabrina straight up spilled, let's get all the facts straight. Gail was the one that slept with him while he was with his first wife, and the first wife caught them in New Orleans together. This isn't my story, this is Gail's story. We did not get caught at the airport coming back from Europe together. She ran up on me a week ago. They haven't lived together in over 2 years. In short, according to Sabrina, Gail was the original Sabrina, and she twisted the story to make her look like the villain. Remember that first video that Gail posted approaching Harold and Sabrina at the airport? Well, Sabrina said that Gail only shared a clip from when they were approached at the airport and not the full video. According to Sabrina, she and Harold looked shocked because Gail was screaming at them, asking why she had a smirk. And according to Sabrina, the smirk was because Gail kept calling her daughters all sorts of nasty names in front of everybody in the Sky Lounge. She also alleged that Gail followed them onto the plane and she had to be escorted off because she was causing a scene. Child, I don't even know if Auntie Sabrina is lying or Gail started screaming later on, because in the video she posted, she was pretty calm if you ask me.
Oh my God. Good morning, Harold. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you have a good flight. I'll see you on the flight.
Well, what I know is I want to hear the perspective of the first wife. I bet she has one hell of a story to tell and a lot of things to clarify. Anyway, it didn't even take long before Gail returned in a separate set of videos to clarify that Harold was married when they met, but she would knock down the idea of dealing with a married man. According to Gail, when she was introduced to Harold, he told her that he was not married and that she had made it clear at the time that she didn't want to get involved with a married man. Apparently, when Gail knew that Harold was married, she encouraged him to stay with his wife and kids. Gail said that it was only after Harold started his divorce paperwork that she agreed to date him. Now, Gail also denied Sabrina's story about Harold's first wife catching them in New Orleans together, but she admitted to taking a trip to Essence Fest with Harold. And she claimed she made sure he filed for divorce from his first wife before they moved forward. Okay, here's where it gets even more interesting. Based on what Sabrina said, it was all a setup because Gail is trying to get on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, it's possible, because tell me why after the story went viral, Kandi Burruss had Gail on her TikTok talking about Gail being her girl. Let's just say that to a lot of people, her association with Kandi left a bad taste in their mouths. And Kandi posting about it to capitalize on the viral moment, that just made a lot of people look at the entire situation sideways. And I thought I had seen it all until I saw the court documents that Gail filed for her divorce. It wasn't just Sabrina, y'all. In there, Gail mentioned a bunch of other women and went into detail about how Harold was spending money on all these other women, taking them on vacations and getting them all sorts of expensive stuff. And when I say women, I mean Harold cheated with over 60 women, including trans women. Well, even though there were other women, the main sneaky link was always Sabrina. And the deeper I went down that rabbit hole, the juicier it became. Tell me why I came across photos of Sabrina hanging out with Harold's golf buddies. Literally, his friends were complicit all along. Also, why are there many photos of Sabrina with Claudia Jordan from Housewives? Is Sabrina also auditioning to be a housewife like Gail? Child, if both Sabrina and Gail will be on Housewives, one of them better switch up their looks, because I'm not about to be playing spot the difference every time they come on. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this drama so far? I'm saying so far because I have a feeling we will be revisiting, especially when we find the perspective of the first wife. Meanwhile, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below.